Welcome to the Rogers Kakasungura YouTube channel. A big thank you once again for the support you grant this platform. My number one assignment in this platform is to give you facts, not propaganda for the sake of views and likes. I have always committed and I will commit to make sure you get facts as they are. I have been analyzing on the Ebola quarantine center that is currently being set up in Laikipia Military Air Base. I have been warning Kenyans about it, and today I have an expert who was being interviewed in Al Jazeera. I want to shock you today. I want to give you a reason why Kenyans, you must reject this by all means humanly possible. Even if it means going to camp at the Laikipia Air Base, we camp there for months, for years, until America withdraws this plan. It is something that is meant to destroy this country. It is something that is meant to kill this country. And as a people who have lived peaceably with our weak health systems, we can still manage to survive. This is something that needs to be rejected. Even if it means a whole country, 50 million people, Kenyans, we can travel to Laikipia Air Base. We camp there. We sleep there. We spend nights there until America and William Ruto withdraws this move. Dr. Stella Boshire lives in Nairobi, and he works for Amnesty International Kenya, and he went to the University of London. So she is a qualified doctor and understands this very well. She was being interviewed on Al Jazeera, and I want you to listen to what she's saying. It is shocking, it is traumatizing, and it is dangerous to us. Let's listen in.
All right, Dr. Stella Boshire is the Executive Director of the Africa Centre for Health Systems. She joins us now from Nairobi. Dr. Stella, thank you for your time. It would seem from the outside an unusual move to invite Ebola into a country. Do you support this centre being set up?
Thank you so much for having me this evening. For all intent and purpose, it is not necessarily if I support, it's actually the global public health measures around infectious control. This is the first time this is happening in the world. In fact, for our global north, which is America, a well-established country with more than 10 centers for infectious diseases, really well-resourced technical infrastructure, exporting suspected or confirmed cases or exposed cases of Americans to Nairobi, to rather Laikipia, is unheard of. I mean, worse still is actually the segregation that is happening around this kind of system that they're building, the infrastructure that they're building in Laikipia. It is an American only facility that is going to just treat and take care of Americans only, and they have already started importing their own expertise. The whole world, including our own regional organizations around public health, is really questioning this move and asking, if Mark Rubio can say that we do not want Ebola in America, on what grounds do they feel that it is okay for Kenyans to really accept Ebola? Kenya has never recorded a single case of a confirmed Ebola, mainly because our surveillance system, despite the fact that our health systems are very weak, is that we've been really rigorous. But this is an intentional action, even though the president is supporting it very heavily, to actually put the country at risk. And as a global public health practitioner, I really would call upon the American government to rethink this move, which is not only right now illegal as our court processes have stated with the conservatory order, but it also not a public health, global health practice.
Yeah, so then if the government insists on carrying out this plan, is there a way of doing it safely?
There is no way of doing this safely. There are two levels of how you look at it. Already we are seeing unrest in Laikipia. We've seen what's happening with the young people who now it's actually extending into police brutality because the people of Laikipia are saying, please do not put our lives at risk. There is no safe way because what people are looking at is really within the centers in terms of management. Yes, you can actually safely manage those patients who are, especially the confirmed cases, within the center. But then there's another complaint around waste management that even a single breach in the waste management of this of Ebola can really put the whole country at risk. And we're a country that really depends on public transport. So that means transmission of Ebola would really go fast before then we are able to contain it. And we're seeing what's happening in DRC. That kind of measure then cannot be allowed to be accepted in the country if it's going to put our country at risk.
You have sort
there
of
is no
answered,
safe way.
Yeah, you've sort of answered this with your statement about just one exposure would be all it takes. What is your fear then, your worst fear about what may happen, given that the government seems relatively intent on finding a way of having this set up in place?
I mean, we are just coming out of the COVID pandemic. In the whole country, we have less than 300 ICU beds. In the whole country, we have less than 30,000 facilities that have oxygen. So when it comes to support of these patients, because we know most of them go into dehydration, most of them require fluids and minerals, most of them require very huge liquid supportive systems. We do not have that capacity in the country. The country right now where it is, just recently the government on its own accord did an analysis of preparedness of its own facilities, and in itself it says we are a country that needs to invest more in our healthcare. And so we do not have the capacity. We do not have the healthcare workers. We do not have the commodities that we require. We do not have the bed capacity. We actually are not ready.
You might not be able to answer this, but I'll ask you anyway. Mutually beneficial were the words used by your president. Do you have any idea what would lead him to use such words and what is behind such swift willingness from Kenya to play host to this centre?
There's no mutual beneficial there. I think the only way perhaps maybe the president is fashioning it around that is the supposed resources that are going to come to Kenya. We know about 1 billion shillings has been committed by the US government to actually go into supporting the country. But this is just a drop in the ocean in terms of what our health systems need. And so the mutual beneficence that they are saying is actually unilateral. It is actually a center that is only going to benefit the US, has zero benefits to Kenya. They are not transferring expertise. They are not training our healthcare workers. They are not treating our Kenyans in those facilities. They will not even leave those infrastructure for us. How is it beneficial? How is it mutual? That's just a singular, powerful move that the American government has done because of resources.
Dr. Stella Bosire, thank you so much joining us live from Nairobi.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, hey. Yani, I feel my, hey, I feel shivering. Yani, nasikia baridi imeingia kwa mwili, nasikia baridi. Hey. So, those of you who have been thinking Kaka is spreading propaganda, I have done a lot of research in this issue. I have spoken to qualified experts behind the curtains. The information I've been giving you here about Ebola is something I've researched. By the way, I have never told you this. Sijalala. Tangu hii news itoke kwamba Ebola facility inajengwa Laikipia. Sijalala. Every day, I do research. I meet doctors. I meet experts to try and understand what is really happening with our country. Sasa mumesikia from an expert, Dr. Bosire. Amesema vitu vitatu hapa as I finish. Number one, amesema that is an only American Ebola quarantine facility. If you are a Kenyan today, you get exposed to Ebola, you cannot be treated in that facility. You cannot be isolated into that facility. That's what Dr. Bosire has said. Number 2, amesema everything in that facility belong to Americans. Even they have sent their medical personnel, meaning even if Ebola goes, that facility cannot remain with us because it is their property. Number 3, daktari amesema the only motivation behind the setting up that facility is the resources, money. Ruto is making money. Ruto is in business. Ruto is trading with our health. We will not fear to speak this. We will speak this. We will tell our people. We will not fear. Tutaambia watu wetu haya maneno. Mesikia vile daktari amesema. Now you get from the horse's mouth. Kaka, I've been telling you as an analyst. The one speaking here is an international expert. If America feels Ebola is a threat, why bring it in Kenya? The biggest question in the room. My heart is bleeding. But anyway, God bless you Kenyans. Mimi nimewaambia, nimenawa mikono. And I will keep telling you, I will keep researching on your behalf. God bless you. See you on the next episode. Asanteni sana.